2 years after my divorce from Alpha Dorian, I had nothing left. Not a single thing. I was packing when my daughter pulled an old phone out of a box. "Mom, look. This one still turns on." I tapped the screen. An email I'd written to myself 10 years ago was still sitting in the drafts folder. "Hey, 28-year-old Nora, how's life? Did you become Dorian's Luna? Is your pup adorable? He's always wanted pups. I bet you two are so happy." Tears fell onto the screen before I could stop them. Please subscribe for more exciting videos like this. I started typing back, one line at a time. I became Dorian's Luna. We had a daughter. 3 years in, I found out he was cheating on me. With your best friend. The severance dragged on for 2 years. He won. I left with nothing. The reply came almost instantly. "You're lying. Dorian and Iris would never do that to me. They love me more than anyone." I let out a bitter laugh, hands shaking as I typed. "Love you? Our daughter has congenital heart disease." I begged on my knees for surgery money, and he accused me of extortion. He froze my accounts, took my money to fund Iris's wedding, and sent invitations. Nora, wake up. 10 years later, Dorian doesn't love you. Leave him or stay, it's your choice. Stay or leave. That's your choice to make. Will she believe me? The message disappeared into nothing. Minutes passed. Still no reply. Of course she didn't believe me. At 18, Dorian was her whole world. I wiped my eyes and went back to packing. My daughter sat on top of the suitcase, her little voice soft. "Mom, why do we have to move?" I tried to answer, but nothing came out. Where would I even start? That I wasn't going to be Luna anymore, that I was losing everything, that her dad was marrying someone else, and we weren't his family anymore. She was too young for any of that. An engine rumbled outside. The familiar luxury car pulled up to the front gate. Dorian stepped out with his arm around Iris Ashford, the two of them laughing about something as they walked inside. I dragged the suitcase down and ran straight into them in the foyer. Iris flaunted their freshly signed marriage license right in front of me. "Leaving so soon, Nora? You know Dorian." The dissolution came through this morning, and by afternoon he was already dragging me to the registry. Couldn't even wait one day. I didn't look at her. I looked past the license, straight at Dorian. He stepped aside without a word. His face was blank, like I was nobody. My daughter didn't understand any of it. She reached for Iris with both arms. "Auntie Iris, hug." Iris smiled, squeezed my daughter's cheek, then pulled a check from her bag and pressed it into my hand. "A little something for the pup. Take it." A year ago, I would have thrown it back in her face. But now, I gripped it tight and shoved it into my bag. Dorian's lip curled. "Really, Nora? You didn't get a cent in the pack settlement, so now you're taking charity? Are you that desperate?" I swallowed what was left of my pride. For Luna's sake, I tried one more time. "Dorian, Luna's surgery. Can you just?" "Enough, Nora." His expression went dark. "I've been funding your lifestyle for 10 years. How much is ever enough for you? Stop using our pup to squeeze money out of me. I've seen her chart. She's fine. Don't even try it." My hand tightened around the suitcase handle. Nails dug into my palm hard enough to draw blood, and the sting was the only thing keeping me from crying. I'd told him a dozen times something was wrong with that report. He never listened. According to him, the Oakhaven Medical Center was the best in the region. They didn't make mistakes. He believed Iris over me. Always. When I brought him a second opinion from Oakhaven University Hospital, he tore it up right in front of me. Called it a scam. He'd even hired the best legal team he could find. Their only job was to push me out of the Shadow Claw pack without a cent. Luna grabbed my hand. "Mommy, I'm scared." I scooped her up with one arm, grabbed the suitcase with the other, and pushed past both of them. As I passed Iris, a familiar scent hit me. Fur. Cedar. Dorian. The custom perfume he'd given me on our anniversary 2 years ago. He'd told me it was blended to match his scent, only one bottle in the world, because I was the only one for him. Months later, Iris started reeking of that exact same fragrance. Every time I caught that scent on her, another piece of my chest cracked. I loaded the suitcase into the car. We were pulling away when the old phone lit up. Are you really me at 28? I asked Dorian about it. He said I'm his destined mate, and he'll never love anyone else. He said our pup is going to be healthy and beautiful, and he'll give her everything. Dorian loves me. I believe him. Of course she did. I dug the gold-embossed mating ceremony invitation out of my bag. Their names on the front, Dorian and Iris, burned right through me. I took a photo and hit send. Ask him for me. If he swore he'd love me forever, why did he throw it all away for someone else? After I sent the email, the phone died. Ever since I found out about Dorian's affair, I'd held myself together. I signed the severance papers without flinching, penned my name on the matebond dissolution contract. Sat through every court date like it was nothing. Even when his lawyer backed me into a corner and I couldn't get a word out, I never cried. But reading those promises from 18-year-old Dorian broke something open in me. All the unfairness I'd swallowed rushed back up at once. Because no one knew better than I did how real his love used to be. When I was 16, the Silverpine pack fell apart financially. My family lost everything, our territory, our standing, all of it. Dorian drained his trust fund to bail my family out. The Shadowclaw pack refused to accept a nobody Omega as Luna. They told Dorian to drop me or face the consequences. He chose me anyway. He would have given up his alpha title without a second thought. I begged him through tears to walk away, and he kissed my forehead and said, "Nora, I don't need anything else. Just you." He swore I'd be the happiest Luna alive, and that our pups would never know anything but love. But the day I finally moved into the Shadowclaw pack house, the day I got everything I'd wanted, was also the day this mate bond started dying. I cried the entire drive. The next morning my eyes were so swollen I could barely see, but I called every person in my phone anyway, begging anyone who'd listen to help me pull together enough for Luna's surgery. I'd barely set the phone down when the pack nursery called. "Are you Luna's mother?" She collapsed. "We're taking her to the hospital now." By the time I got to the hospital, Dorian was already there. He was standing over Luna's bed, staring down at her, pale and tiny and hooked up to monitors. His face was pure fury. "Go ahead, Nora. How much are you after this time?" My hands fumbled through the bag, pulling out a stack of medical records. "Dorian, it's bad this time. It's really bad. If you don't believe me, just look at the..." Dorian grabbed my wrist. His grip was so tight I thought the bones would snap. "Cut the act, Nora." He tossed a debit card onto the bedside table. "I know what Luna needs. There's enough in there for both of you. Pin's your birthday." I pulled free and snatched it off the table. Dorian glanced once more at Luna, then turned to go. He stopped when he reached the door. "You know, Nora, if you'd just looked the other way back then, we'd still be together. The three of us. A family. I was never going to marry her. You're the one who turned it into this whole disaster." Every part of me was shaking. "Look the other way?" I walked in on them. Him and my best friend in our bed. I was 8 months pregnant. The shock sent me straight to the floor. My body just gave out. I labored for 24 hours, bleeding through the sheets, and Luna came into the world too early. She'd been fragile ever since. Her tiny body had been paying the price for what he did. Hospital after hospital. Emergency after emergency. I lost count of how many times they told me she might not make it. Every time I fell apart in a hospital hallway, Dorian was somewhere else, running pack affairs, or with Iris. He gave Iris more of his time in a week than he gave his own pup in a month. I braced myself against the wall and stood up. The old phone, the emails, flashed through my mind. I'd charged it overnight. The battery was full. A flood of emails lit up the screen. 28-year-old Nora, I asked Dorian for you. He said there was no way he'd be the man on that invitation. He swore he'd never betray me. He severed ties with Iris. She was a wreck, crying, demanding to know why. He said he didn't want to be the reason the future version of me got hurt. Iris was supposed to go to the same university as us, but now she's decided to transfer to a pack overseas. See? The future isn't set in stone. Dorian also said if the version of him 10 years from now really turns out like that, then he wants to apologize to you now for that man. I bit down on my lips so hard I tasted iron and refused to make a sound. Something shifted inside my head. Memories flickered, dissolving at the edges. A moment later, new ones took their place. After graduation, Dorian and Iris's friendship ended. She left the territory furious. But 4 years later, Iris came back. She came back with the full weight of the Ashford pack behind her and walked right back into Dorian's life. The Ashford pack and the Shadowclaw pack formed an alliance. And Dorian and Iris? They still ended up together. I wrote it all down for 18-year-old Nora. Every last thing that was coming. At the end, I added, Nora, if you want to change what's coming, you have to leave Dorian. Completely. For good. If I could go back and do one thing differently, it would be this. Luna was unconscious through the night. The next morning she opened her eyes, barely, and reached for my hand. Don't worry, Mommy. Luna's okay. I pulled her close and pressed my face into her tiny hands. The doctor came over, voice low. Miss Holloway, your daughter's condition is serious. She needs surgery soon. As for the cost, I cut him off with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. I'll figure it out. But what was left to figure out? I had nothing. I called in every favor I had, but what I scraped together barely covered the pre-op tests. In the end, I called Iris. Iris, I need to borrow $750,000. I don't want anything. I won't fight you for Dorian. I just need my pup to survive. A soft laugh came through the line. Oh, Nora, how the mighty have fallen. There's a pack gathering tonight. I want you there on your knees, begging me where everyone can see. I got to the private room later that evening. Every pair of eyes in the room landed on me. Oh my God, she actually showed up? Look at her, completely lost without her Luna title. Selling her dignity for a blank check. Pathetic. If she hadn't sunk her claws into Dorian, Iris would have had him a long time ago. I'd been on the receiving end of those looks for 3 years. 3 years of whispers just like these. The Iris I remembered from high school, the one who'd step to anyone who said one wrong word about me, who'd go to war for me over the smallest thing. Now she was the one twisting the knife. You came. Iris leaned back against the sofa, chin tilted up. Then submit and kneel. I froze. What? Too proud to beg. She swirled her wine glass and slid a blank check across the table toward me. Well, kneel, and you can write in whatever number you want. The room erupted in laughter. Come on, kneel already. You still think you're the Luna. You came all this way begging for money. Drop the act already. My fists clenched at my sides. I had no other choice. But I wouldn't kneel to the woman who destroyed my life. I turned to leave. Iris was on her feet before I could reach the door. She caught my arm, raised her glass, and emptied the wine over my head slowly, making sure I felt every drop. You know what I've always hated about you, Nora? We all grew up together. So why was it always you? Why did Dorian always pick you? What makes you think someone like you ever deserved him? The wine ran down my forehead in cold streaks, soaking into my collar. Iris tossed the check at me. Write whatever number you need. We were friends once. I'm not going to let your pup die. I hadn't even picked it up yet. The door flew open. Dorian! Nora, why aren't you at the hospital with Luna? What the hell are you doing here? His eyes landed on the check in my hand, and he backhanded me across the face. I hit the floor. Blood gathered at the corner of my mouth. Have you got no shame at all? Harassing Iris for money. Iris slipped her arm through his from behind. Dorian, don't be mad. I just felt sorry for her. She walked away with nothing. Of course she's broke. Dorian looked at me like I was something stuck to the bottom of his shoe. Take the money and get out. Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Something inside me went numb. It didn't matter. None of it mattered. Not if it meant saving her. I picked the check up off the floor and walked out with their laughter echoing behind me. I was barely through the door when I heard someone ask, Dorian, do you regret mating with her? He said, every day. If I could go back 10 years, I'd make sure I never loved her at all. The air left my lungs like someone had punched it out of me. But the boy he was 10 years ago had just sworn he'd never hurt me. Moon Goddess, how did we end up here? Back at the hospital, I booked the surgery immediately. My daughter looked up at me with so much hope in her eyes that I picked up the phone and called Dorian one more time. He didn't pick up until the 10th call. Dorian, can you be there for Luna's surgery? She keeps asking for you. Silence on the other end. I'm slammed with pack affairs. Just text me when it's over and let me know how it went. He paused. Oh, the mating ceremony is in a few days. You should come. I hung up before he could say another word. I didn't want my pup hearing any more of that. The day of the ceremony, the whole city seemed to lose its mind. Every channel was carrying the event live, reporters falling over themselves to call it the mating of the century. I stood there gripping the invitation, so hard it crumpled in my fist. The monitor flatlined with one long, screaming beep. The room exploded into chaos. They rushed Luna into the ICU, her skin gray, her lips nearly white. A team of doctors and nurses closed in around her, hands already moving. Luna. Baby, I'm right here. Look at me. The nurses held me back. All I could do was pound on the glass. Ms. Holloway, we can't wait any longer. She needs surgery now. We need payment before we can proceed. I ran to the front desk and pulled out the debit card. Thank God I still had the card Dorian gave me. As long as the money was still there. Just hang on, baby. Mommy's coming. But the woman behind the counter handed the card back, something like pity in her eyes. I'm sorry, ma'am. This card's been frozen. I lost it. I called Dorian over and over. 10 times 20, I don't know. First he declined every call. Then he blocked my number. I ran out of the hospital, flagged down a cab, and went straight to the pack hall. By the time I got there, Dorian was standing outside the venue in a tailored black tuxedo, roses in hand, seconds from walking in. I threw myself at him and grabbed his sleeve. My voice was barely there. Dorian, Luna's dying. She's in the ICU right now. She needs surgery. Unfreeze the card. Please, just unfreeze it. Dorian's jaw tightened. He signaled the guards over. Nora, enough. I've seen Luna's medical report. It's nothing serious. Stop making a scene. I screamed, I fought, and they dragged me out anyway. The ceremonial music swelled inside the venue, swallowing my screams whole. The old phone in my pocket buzzed. 28-year-old Nora, it's Dorian. I know everything now. Everything that's supposed to happen. And I swear none of it will. Not to me and Nora. I'll spend my whole life loving her. No one's ever going to hurt her. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. The tears wouldn't stop. The 18-year-old Dorian swore he would love me with everything he had. The 28-year-old Dorian was mating with someone else while his pup died alone in a hospital bed. The phone rang. The hospital. Ms. Holloway, I'm so sorry. We were out of time. Your daughter, she didn't make it. Time of death. Everything went silent. My mind emptied out. No, my baby. On stage, Dorian and Iris had just exchanged mating vows. He was leaning in to kiss her. I tore free from the guard's grip and charged the stage, shoving them apart. Dorian! She's dead. Our pup is dead. Do you hear me? I grabbed his collar and slammed my fists against his chest. Dorian caught my wrists and roared. Nora, you've lost your mind. Luna was fine. She can't be dead. Somebody get her off me. Iris cowered behind him, screaming. She's lying. That money was more than enough to cover Luna's treatment. I let go of Dorian, grabbed Iris by the hair and yanked her back, striking her face. Again and again. You did this. You tampered with the medical report. You killed my pup. The whole venue descended into chaos. Iris shrieked that I'd lost my mind. Guests scrambled out of their seats. The guards hauled me up by the arms and dragged me out. I stumbled to my feet and ran, typing as I went. Nora, my pup is dead. Minutes ago. Dorian and Iris are at their mating ceremony right now. They killed her. I'm begging you. Leave Dorian. Don't fall in love with him. Don't mate with him. Please. Don't let my pup die again. I was begging myself. My own 18-year-old self. Don't make the same mistake. Tears blurred my vision. I couldn't see a thing. By the time I realized where I was standing in the middle of the road. A truck was barreling toward me. Brakes screamed. The world tilted and spun. Through the haze, I saw him, the 18-year-old Dorian, screaming my name, running toward me. Nora. Hashtag Dorian's POV. The mating ceremony went on. After they dragged Nora out, I felt a sharp tug of something. Pity, maybe. But she'd gone too far. She wasn't the Nora I remembered anymore. She was making up stories about our pup's health now. That was how desperate she'd gotten. Iris was everything a Luna should be, graceful, steady, and approved by the pack. Either way, this ceremony was happening. I shoved the whole scene out of my head. Iris came back from the Luna suite in a fresh outfit, and I took her hand like nothing had happened. We made the rounds together, from table to table. Chandeliers blazed overhead. Guests raised their glasses and smiled like the scene with Nora had never happened. Everything was perfect. My phone rang 4 times during the reception. I rejected everyone. I knew it was Nora, still trying to pull me back into her drama. She'd been like that since we were kids, stubborn to the bone, taking everything like it was life or death. Maybe I'd go check on her later. The phone rang a 5th time. This time I picked up. I opened my mouth to snap at her, but it wasn't Nora. Mr. Stormfong, your pup Luna went into sudden cardiac arrest. We were unable to resuscitate her. I'm sorry. She's gone. And Miss Holloway was involved in a fatal collision on her way back. She didn't survive either. We need you at the hospital as soon as possible. After that, I couldn't hear anything. The wine glass slipped from my hand and shattered across the floor. Every head in the room turned. Iris was at my side in a second. Dorian, what's wrong? You're pale as a sheet. I looked down at the broken glass. Then I crouched slowly and started picking up the pieces. I don't know why. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Dorian! Iris knelt beside me and took my hands. Don't. Leave it. Let someone else get it. I didn't move. Didn't speak. I was frozen solid. Dorian, talk to me. What happened? You're scaring me. Iris's eyes were filling with tears. She'd never seen me like this. I don't know how long I stood there before the words finally came out, barely a rasp. I need to get to the hospital. My voice sounded steady. Everything else in me was coming apart. I walked out. I started walking. Then I was running. It wasn't real. How could Luna be dead? Her medical report said she was fine. I'd seen it myself. And Nora. Nora couldn't be dead. She was the most stubborn person I'd ever known. Since we were 5, every fight, she'd come at me with everything she had. She'd never let anyone get the last word. Never let herself lose. It had to be a scam call. That had to be it. Scammers pulled this kind of thing all the time. Or a prank. Some sick joke. No. This was Nora. Another one of her stunts to get a reaction out of me. I told myself that the entire drive to the hospital. Until I walked into the morgue and saw 2 bodies under white sheets. One adult-sized. One impossibly small. My legs gave out. I hit the floor on my knees. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just knelt there, hollow, like something had reached inside me and torn everything out. Iris showed up minutes later, out of breath. She saw the beds and screamed. Her eyes went wide, and the tears came before she could stop them. No. No, that's not. How can they both be dead? I gave her the money. I gave it to her, so why? How did this still happen? I heard every word. I turned and looked at her, and something inside me went cold. I saw it all. Iris, did you falsify Luna's medical report? Iris stumbled backward, words spilling out in broken pieces. I just wanted Nora to stop bothering you. I wanted her gone, away from you. I didn't mean for Luna too. I never wanted her to die. She lurched forward and grabbed my hands, sobbing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, please. I shoved her away from me. I got to my feet, pointing at her, shaking with a rage that made my vision go red. You. Before I could finish, something hot surged up my throat. Blood. Then I hit the floor. The last thing I saw before the dark swallowed me was Nora, the 18-year-old Nora, walking away. ## Dorian's POV. I dreamed for what felt like forever. In the dream, I saw Nora, 18 years old. She was in an oversized hoodie, hair pulled up in a messy bun, waiting for the boy I used to be under the sycamore tree by the front gate. My younger self walked over, and Nora reached for him first, lacing her fingers through his. Dorian, I aced my finals this time. Can you believe it? That's all because of you and your study sessions. What do you want as a reward? When she smiled, everything about her face softened. Her eyes crinkled, bright as sunlight. Then I watched my younger self lean down and kiss her. I don't need a reward. I just need you right here. Nora smacked his arm, face flushed, and the two of them took off running down the sidewalk, laughing the whole way. In college, I picked up off-the-book security gigs alongside her and handed over every cent I made. Nora tried to push it back every time, and I'd just grin and say, I'm the Shadow Claw heir. You think I need the money. The truth was, the pack elders had cut me off months before. I was working 3 jobs just to stay afloat. 4 years of college, and the Shadow Claw pack tried every trick they could think of to tear us apart. I didn't budge. I would have given up the heir title for her without blinking. Back then, I would have burned it all down for her. But later, everything changed. It probably started after Nora got pregnant. Being pregnant changed her. Her mood swung wildly, and she cried over everything. Every late night I came home, she'd be on the couch, crying. If I forgot to text back, she'd call 10 times in a row, sobbing, accusing me of not loving her anymore. At first I had the patience to talk her down. Then I just got tired of it. I'd wear myself down at work all day, drag myself home, and walk straight into another fight. I was done. That's when Iris slipped in. She wasn't just a childhood friend. She was my partner in pack affairs. She was sharp, level-headed, and composed. She didn't cry. She didn't lose her temper over nothing. Every time Nora and I fought, Iris was the one who'd smooth everything over. With Iris, I didn't have to fight the pack anymore either. Bit by bit, she filled the space Nora used to hold. The day Nora found out, the shock sent her into early labor. I stood outside the delivery room listening to her scream, and for the first time in my life, I knew I'd done something unforgivable. After Luna was born, I got on my knees in front of Nora and begged her for another chance. Nora told me to go to hell, crying the entire time. But she stayed. For the pup. After that, her whole world was Luna. I barely existed. Luna was always sick, and Nora dragged her from one hospital to the next, desperate for answers. Our entire text history was nothing but payment requests. Every call the same thing. Money. When Luna was 2, Nora showed up at my door, eyes raw and red. Are you still seeing Iris? I smelled my custom perfume on her. The one you gave me. I didn't deny it. Iris and I had never stopped. Not for a single day in those 2 years. I expected tears. Screaming. A fight. But she didn't give me any of it. She turned around, walked out, and the next morning a dissolution contract was on my desk. I refused to sign. She took me to the pack court. 2 years of pack court battles, custody, assets, everything. Neither of us gave an inch. I won. The day the verdict came in, I didn't feel anything close to relief. Nora walked out calm and quiet. The way she looked at me, there was nothing in it. No love. No hate. Just nothing. For a second, something hollow opened up inside my chest. I understood it now. The woman who loved me was gone long before she ever left. And none of that mattered now. It was all too late. I opened my eyes, pressed my hands over my face, and broke down. Right there in the hospital bed, I sobbed like I hadn't cried since I was a child. The last time I saw Nora, she'd come tearing in like a wild thing, telling me Luna was dying. And I didn't believe her. I thought it was another performance, another way to shake me down for money. While my pup was dying, I was exchanging vows with another woman. Luna. I'm sorry. Nora. I'm sorry. I wasn't a good father. I was an even worse mate. A knock at the door. My beta, Marcus Reed, walked in and handed me 2 files. One was the report Iris had forged. The other was real. With every page I turned, the blood drained a little more from my face. The woman I'd trusted, the one I thought was smart, caring, and understood me better than anyone, had been falsifying my pup's medical records all along. I never knew how sick Luna really was. I hurled the files across the room. I called Iris. Iris. I want a severance. Dorian, after everything we've been through. Severance. I won't. Dorian, everything I did was because I love you. I love you. I've always loved you more than she ever did. I hung up. I told Marcus to call the pack lawyers. Then I had Iris's things thrown out of the house. They buried Luna and Nora on the same day at Silvermist Cemetery. It rained. I stood in front of their headstone with no umbrella, letting the rain soak me through. Nora, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you hear me? I shouldn't have doubted you. I shouldn't have frozen that card. I shouldn't have gone to that goddamn ceremony. I should have been there. I should have been at the hospital holding Luna's hand. I should have loved you the way you deserved. I'm sorry, Nora. When I was 18, I swore I'd spend my life loving you. And I couldn't even do that. I dropped to my knees and pressed my forehead against the cold stone. The rain and the tears ran together until I couldn't tell which was which. I failed you. I failed at everything. I covered every wall with photos of them. Every night I fell asleep holding photos of them, pretending they were still there. I kept everything of Nora's. I couldn't throw any of it away. Going through her things, I found the old phone. I opened it and found the emails, the ones between Nora and her 18-year-old self. I read the 18-year-old Nora writing, "Dorian loves me. I believe him." I read my 18-year-old self swearing, "I'll spend my whole life loving her." I stared at those words until something cracked open inside me, and I didn't know if the sound coming out of my throat was laughter or sobbing. Then I reached the last email. Nora, begging her younger self to leave me. Please, don't fall in love with him. Don't mate with him. Don't let my pup die again. I tried to picture what she must have felt, typing those words. I couldn't. I shuddered. I picked up the old phone and started writing to the 18-year-old Nora. I told her I was sorry. I told her I was wrong. I told her that every day since she'd been gone, missing her got worse, not better. She never wrote back. Not once. I kept sending them anyway. It was the only thing I had left. Nora, is there any version of this where you could forgive me? ## Maeve's POV. When I woke up, the first thing I felt was pain. Not in my body. In my chest. A crushing, airless ache that wouldn't let me breathe. I sat up slowly. I was in the pack infirmary. I'd been hit by a truck. So why wasn't there a scratch on me? Nora, you're awake? Someone was holding my hand. A girl I didn't recognize leaned over me, worry written all over her face. You've been unconscious for 2 days straight. You scared me half to death. Unconscious? I tried to remember what had happened, but there was nothing. Just a void. I'm sorry, who are you? Oh, come on. Did that shock fry your brain? You don't even recognize your own packmate. It took me 2 days to piece together what happened. I'd traveled back 10 years, but in this timeline, 3 years had already passed. The trauma had wiped out part of my memory. I didn't know where the 18-year-old Nora had gone, but this body was mine now. It looked like she'd actually listened to me. She'd left Dorian. She'd gone to college on her own. She'd aced her classes, won design competitions, secured scholarships, all of it. She'd made real friends. Her phone was full of photos, parties, group dinners, trips. In every one, she looked happy. She'd actually changed the future. And in this version of it, Dorian wasn't in my life. The first few months felt like sleepwalking. No one to fight with. No pup to take care of. Sleeping in as long as I wanted. I didn't know what to do with any of it. My friends noticed. They started checking in on me, dragging me out whenever they made plans. Sometimes I caught them watching me with careful eyes, like they were afraid I might break. Slowly, I settled in. The old rhythm of being a student came back, like muscle memory coming back. Some days I thought about Luna. Some days I still cried. She belonged in another timeline, but the wound she left was mine to carry forever. I didn't look for Dorian. I didn't want to. It wasn't hate. I was just tired. I'd poured years of my life into loving one person. Gave it everything. Lost myself in it. In the end, it cost me my pup and nearly my own life. This time around, I just wanted to live. For me. That peace didn't last long. Nora, you finally picked up. That voice. I'd know it anywhere. Iris. Nora, do you know what today is? Her voice was cracking. Today marks 3 years since Dorian died. How could you forget him? 3 years? Dorian was dead? What are you talking about? Dorian's dead. Have you forgotten everything? The day you two severed the bond, 3 years ago. The phone fell from my hand. I dropped to the floor, hands pressed against my head, as every memory from my 18th year came crashing back at once. Hashtag Nora's POV. I remembered everything. 3 years ago, after the 18-year-old Nora read my last email, she cried until there was nothing left in her. She went to Dorian with the email in her hand, barely able to get the words out. Dorian, I have to reject you. The future can't be changed. You're going to end up with Iris. The two of you are going to kill our pup. She begged me not to be with you. She begged me not to let her pup die again. Dorian read the email, and the color drained from his face. Nora, believe me. I won't let that happen. Please. We can change it together, I swear. He held on to her hand and begged again and again until his voice gave out, until he was on his knees. She kept crying, kept shaking her head, backing away from him step by step until she was at the curb. She tore her hand free and ran into the street. A semi-truck came barreling out of nowhere. Dorian didn't think. He threw himself forward and shoved her out of the way. The impact sent him flying. When Nora turned around, Dorian was on the ground. Blood spread beneath him, and everything in her world went red. The 18-year-old Dorian died right in front of her. He'd sworn to love her with his life. And that's exactly what it cost him. In the other timeline, I died at the same moment. But in this one, it was Dorian who didn't make it. Fate always balanced its scales, and it always collected. In the months after Dorian died, the 18-year-old Nora shut herself away. She stopped talking, stopped smiling. She'd just sit there scrolling through the photos on her phone, over and over. Eventually, she pulled herself together on the surface, went to college, made friends. But at night, she buried herself under the covers and cried. Then the depression swallowed her. The first time, her packmate found her in time and got her to the pack clinic. The second time, her pack healer and classmates talked her down. She spent 3 days in the clinic. The third time, they almost didn't save her. Every time they brought her back, she screamed at them for not letting her go. Eventually, the girl she used to be just went dark inside. I pushed up my sleeves. The scars along my arms told me everything I needed to know. The tears came before I could stop them. None of it had been accidental. She'd done all of this to herself. That girl. That sweet, reckless girl who loved so fiercely she couldn't survive losing him. By the time I got to Silvermist Cemetery, Iris was already there. I'd expected to feel rage when I saw her. Expected to want to hit her. But there was nothing. Just quiet. Nora, how could you forget him? He loved you more than anything. I didn't answer. I just stood before Dorian's headstone. His photo was set into the stone. I was finally looking at the face of the boy he'd been at 18. I never imagined it would be like this. In this timeline, Dorian only made it to 18. His whole life, caught in one summer. He'd asked me to trust him. He said he'd change the future. And he did. Because for the rest of my life, he wouldn't be in it. Before she left, Iris turned to me. He really did love you. He cut me out of his life over an email about a future that hadn't happened yet. 10 years of friendship gone. Just to make sure you'd feel safe. Nora, I never stood a chance against you. Not once. I already knew all of it. The 28-year-old Dorian betrayed me. The 18-year-old one gave his life for me. I knelt in front of his headstone and let it all out. Every ounce of grief, every scrap of love, every last bit of anger I'd been holding. When it was over, I stood up and dried my face. The love that belonged to 18 could stay at 18. Everything else, the love, the hate, all of it, I let the wind take it. The person I was now deserved a fresh start. I graduated. Landed a good job. A few years after that, I opened my own clothing studio. Business boomed. I bought a sleek sports car and traded my rental for a loft of my own. In a world without Dorian, I built a life that was entirely mine. While packing for the move, I found the old phone in a box, the one from when I was 18. I charged it, turned it on, and hundreds of emails flooded in, all from the 28-year-old Dorian. Nora, are you and Luna okay wherever you are? I miss you so much. I know I don't have the right to. It's the anniversary of the day I lost you. You must have hated me when you left. I'm the one who destroyed everything. Nora, I miss you so much. Every night I try to dream about you, but you never come. Nora, I'd give anything to do it over. I would love you the way you deserved. I read them one by one. All that grief, all that longing, spilled across the screen. I felt nothing. After all these years, the 28-year-old Dorian was someone I'd made peace with losing. When I thought of him at all, it was only ever the boy, the 18-year-old version, frozen in summer light. 2 years later, I mated with Elias Sterling, a male who loved me the way I deserved. We had a pup, a little girl. Elias asked what we should name her. I smiled. Luna. Her name is Luna. When my pup turned 5, one last email came through. Just one line. Nora, I'm coming to find you. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I closed the phone, picked up my pup, and walked out the door. We were halfway down the street when my pup looked up at me. Mom, Luna loves you. I held her so tight she could barely breathe. My voice broke. Mom loves you too. In this timeline, I finally got to live. And this time, no one was ever taking her from me. The end. Thank you for listening to Moonlit Love Novella. Please like, subscribe, and share.